down the drain. Your niece slips on them. Your dad tries to grab her elbow. Down they go, into the orange gravel dust. Some of the visitors are inside now, flapping those hands and filling the kitchen with noise. Your children climb out of corners, peer around door frames, and one climbs right out of the living room window. Your sister, Lisa, is holding shortbread biscuits to their lips, but they blink at her with tight-shut mouths. You watch your father hug your daughter close. He never seemed that tender back when you were young. The only language he spoke was botany, and so you learned. Fast. A small child, reciting scientific names. Rose is thinking about how you didn't stick around for this bit, nicked off before your own family arrived from Perth. This is the part no one considers. When the life has ended, but the chaos continues. You drift up above the Karis and turn, look back down. Your husband, Eddie, is making a noise that makes everyone else close their eyes. You remember when you first saw him, crouched over a bucket at Emu Point. A boy in a blue flannelette shirt. He was calling out to his friend over on the rocks. You heard his mate shout something back, and the boy in blue stuck his head in the bucket. "Got about a dozen whiting and a couple of herring?" His voice echoed round the red plastic. "Hi," you said. He looked up then, smiled shyly. His eyes were the same colour as his shirt. You reckon you knew, even then. Just as you held your hand out, the other fisherman plonked his bucket down on the jetty. He was wearing a red flannel in the same checkered print. "Hey, lady, I'm Bert," he said, and he took your hand and shook it. You'd never been touched by a Noongar before. "Elena," you said, and he winked. Blue shirt bit his lip, chuckled softly and elbowed his mate out of the way. "Eddie." You remember his hand was calloused, tacky with salt and fish bits. Those calloused hands were heavy and warm, made of the earth. Hands that grounded you, held you, tickled your children, lifted their chins to the stars, traced your lips, shook the soft, cold hands of doctors, trembled as they held your test results, did their best to keep you here, were laid gently on your heart as it beat its final dance. Now those hands are clenched. Open, shut, open, shut, open, shut, open, shut, open, shut. Chest heaving and knees wobbling. There are Christmas carols playing faintly on the radio. Your eldest, Steve, is smacking Eddie's back as if the grief sound is a cough that can be beaten away. He's brown and square as the paddocks, and his hair carries licks of sunshine. Steve filled your belly when you were young, and times were different. When you, Eddie and Bert rented a room in a fishing shack by the sea from an old lady who told you, "God speaks louder on the waves than from the altar." You studied for your teaching certificate at an old wooden desk with second-hand books and scratchy pens, while Eddie and Bert stood knee-deep in water, casting line after line. They came home with buckets of fish and salt in their hair. Your belly grew, and your family shook their heads, looked down their noses at you. A long highway and 5 hours' drive away. When times were hard, you heeded the old woman. You sat beside Eddie in his little boat, and you found God on the waves. Is that where you will find him now? Joe is dunking tea bags in scalding water. A different cut, this one. The peace and calm inside a storm of Tetley kids. He came not long after you moved to the farm, to the cottage still smelling of fresh paint, unpacked boxes. The bees told you he was coming. You were out at the hive with Auntie, collecting honey. They'd never been as flighty as they were that day, buzzing at your wrists, getting in your ears. Today, 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 they seemed to hum. The bees chased you back to the house, bumping into your back and tapping.